Hey, what's up? It's a Figure Hunter. Just got done watching the craziest game of basketball in my entire life. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. But even with the fanfare of the NCAA tournament and all the things that are sort of happening with quarterfinals and debates on scores, I definitely think we should not forget the suffering of the people in Ukraine, regardless of any stance you take and any political opinion or any view of anything at all. There are still a ton of people very much suffering in Ukraine and very much going through the plight of their lives and at the brink of death. So just at the very least, keep them in your hearts and minds and prayers. So with that, let's dive in. I have a little bit of a lesser known matchup, or maybe lesser thought of matchup on the block for review and discussion and comparison today. That is between the Garmin Fenix 6, which is approximately 2 years old, and the brand new Instinct 2. So many have asked what they should get when they're looking at watches, the Instinct 2 versus the Fenix 7. And something in me feels the need to speak about the Fenix 6 when you're thinking of a competitive consideration that's still available on the market versus the Instinct 2. The Instinct 2, like I said in the review, and I'll put lots of reviews down below or subset reviews down below, the Instinct 2 is a powerful offering and is way better than the Instinct 1 because of the features that it brought to the lineup and added to the Instinct 2. So no comparison there. I'll say out of the gate, if you own an Instinct 1, you should absolutely upgrade to the Instinct 2. Period. End of story, and we'll talk about some of that. The Instinct 2 adds screen clarity, adds screen resolution, adds multiple different functions and benefits, adds a brand new sensor which is much more accurate, has much more sleep detail, and even is using a different sleep algorithm and sleep score system for your health and wellness. And above all that, for anybody training CrossFit and high intensity interval training, they have added all of the training load features, or the baseline bulk of training load features, which is training load, your exertion over the last period of time and determining how much you're growing your own fitness, the training effect of each individual workout on your overall fitness level. Did it improve it? Is it pushing it in aerobic and anaerobic capacities? And your recovery time from one workout to the next. All of those are missing from the Instinct 2 and from the Vivo Active 4, 3, and from the Venue 2, 1. All those things are missing. And so now the Instinct 2 has been elevated up to the truly competitive line of watches in the industry and on the market today for CrossFit and high intensity interval training, for any people that have more of a rigorous training program and want to have greater awareness of their training development over time. So, can it keep up with the Fenix 6 that is a couple of years old? So if you like this video, we're going to dive into it. Please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. Lots of great content on the way. So, stay tuned. But can it keep up with the Fenix 6, which is a generation like 2 years behind the current offering of the Fenix 7 and the Epix, Gen 2, but still having all these training features? So that's what we're going to look at in detail. Now, I have worked on this comparison a lot in breaking down what the nuanced differences are. So we're going to look at first the hands-on of the Fenix 6 versus the Instinct 2. We're going to look at sort of the details, talk about some of the specific differences, and then I even did a little video about the screen quality differences in post-workout or in different light settings. So we're going to look at it in detail there, and we're going to then talk about the details of the battery impact depending on different settings you have it on. Number 2, we're going to talk about the features and differences on each of the watches and what's gained or lost, either on the new Instinct 7, because there's a slight couple of new features, or on the Fenix 6, which was the original top-of-the-line Garmin, which offers some of the top-of-the-line features and benefits. Third, where I'm going to show you in a video, and you can skip over if you don't want it, but I just did a release of how to break down the Garmin website to understand what benefits are or aren't on the watch you think is cool looking or you saw in an advertisement. So I'm going to show you, using these watches, how to navigate the Garmin website, and then we're going to look at the summary of spec differences where you yourself could glean some of the things we're going to talk about in the differences highlighted on the website itself. And then last, we're going to talk about what I think and what I think matters and what I think between these two watches. So breaking down, before we get into the hands-on, we're going to dive into that, but the difference in price. So the Instinct 2 in the standard model comes in at $350 to $350, and the solar model at $450, and the solar model adds multi-satellite linked GPS where you can link to 2 different satellites at the same time. So $350 to $450. And the Fenix 6 has a range. So I'm going to focus specifically on the Pro and up, because the Pro has some of the features that I think are just much more beneficial, and it changes the whole conversation. So the Pro is all we're going to talk about today, because with the Pro comes the mapping features we're going to mention, and also music features. But with the Pro, in the standard retail price at $650 at a minimum, but you can find on Amazon right now, and I'll put links down to that down below, for $550. Or you could find a refurbished, renewed version, which I have found with Amazon, the renewed, refurbished options are like brand new, and there's a 90-day policy for $470. And you could even go with an Amazon open box, slightly used, but oftentimes that turns out fine, and it's a free return process for $417. So now you could get a slightly used 417 Fenix 6 versus a 450 solar, or 350 new, or 470 renewed versus 450 to 350. So with the pricing sort of nuanced out of the way, because of the time that Fenix 6 has been on the market, let's talk about the details by looking hands-on at the watches and getting into some of the beef. All right, so here you have the differences. Here you have the hands-on. So this is 0.9 inches across. This is 1.3 inches across. Obviously, this is more square. This is more round. You have a higher concentration on the Fenix 6, and the backlight brightness on the, you can fully adjust from 5% up to 100% on both watches. It goes up to about 65 to 70 lumens on the Fenix 6 in full brightness using a light meter, and about 9.6, just under 10 lumens on it. So, about 13% of the max brightness of the Fenix 6. You can see there's bezel differences. Obviously, 45 millimeters versus 47 millimeters, the metal casing versus the plastic casing, and you have the ridges and the bumps and things like that. A little bit more rugged look here and a little more smooth look, although totally rugged at the same time. One thing that's, an interesting feature, especially if you're hard on your watches, is this has about 0.4 millimeter depth before bezel to glass, and this has a 1.5 millimeter depth bezel to glass. So when you flip them over, the major difference you'll see is same charging cable, different placement, but different sensors. So this has the Elevate 3.0. The Elevate 3.0 came in at about like 75% accurate on really more intense workouts, so it missed about 25%. The Elevate 4.0, which has now been out and I've tested more extensively. I can't remember the exact details. I'll put the description in the link below in the description. I think it was 88% accurate or upward 90. The first testing I came out with was 93, and then I took it through more rigorous testing. So super high accuracy when it comes to optical sensors that are actually on the market today. With both of them, definitely lesser accuracy on the Fenix 6 when it comes to high intensity interval training, and more accuracy here, but still missing a good amount. So with both of these, you'd want to connect to a chest strap. With the Instinct 2, you'd be a little bit better off, that it would be a little bit more closer to accurate with the training, tracking, training load details. One of the things that is fantastic about both of them is you can take the band off on the Instinct 2, and this is actually a Fenix 6, Fenix 7 band, and you can interchange them, so you're getting the same fantastic process or benefit of changing the watch overall. So those are the size differences. This comes in at like 73 grams when it's in the titanium, and like 83 grams when it's full stainless steel. This is only 53 grams, so big differences there. So when you talk about the screen, we'll talk about some of the nuanced feature differences. The screen, when it comes to visibility, one thing I found is when I'm using the Instinct 2, there's a lag. Obviously, there is a lag when you go to click through screens. That's one thing you will notice. It is a felt thing between the two. And when you go to notifications and you see like what the notification looks like on one watch,
It is just a lot easier to read on the Fenix 6, the notification. I have notification turned off from this, but it's really not that important if you just look at how the screens look. So this is monochromatic and this is color. So you can see just how the color differences look. This is at 50% brightness, this is at 100% brightness. So you can see just the overall feature differences of the screen. But let's talk about it in real life. I want to show you a video of just what it looks like when you're looking down at your watch in the middle of a workout or just looking down at your watch in the middle of the day, and then we'll talk about more differences.
All right, here it is inside, so you can see the data, how legible it is on the indoors. Heart rate data, if you're just looking at it indoors, how clear, and the full complication screen, and how clear and easy it is to read indoors. All right, here's the Fenix 6 alongside the Instinct 2 with some complications on it, some data fields. So again, it's about shorter than face distance. So that's what they look like. All right, this is a difference with the 4 data pages. So we saw 6 before, so this is just 4. And this is what the heart rate gauge looks like. So if you're working out, heart rate gauge, some of the data screens after a workout, how the data screens look, differences there. This also is how things look in the outdoors if you're just walking in, I guess, dusk.
Okay, so and now looking at some of the straight line spec issues, we've got to talk about battery life. Now, the Instinct 2 out of the box with baseline settings is rated at 24 days. Let's say we take solar off the table. Solar off both watches off the table. 24 days of battery life. And the Fenix 6 out of the box, Fenix 6 Pro out of the box, is rated at 14 days of battery life. I think I'm quoting that right. So in looking at the screen differences, as I've mentioned, the brightness differences, if you were to compare apples to apples, so 24 days, smartwatch, 14 days. But if you were going to compare apples to apples, you would have to turn up the brightness on the Instinct 2 to 100%, thus making it 9.6 lumens. You'd have to turn down the Fenix 6 to 15% to try to make it almost 9.6 lumens. And in that situation, I have tested the Instinct 2 at the full brightness because I feel like that's the only legible or possibly legible version for me. It's getting 6 days of battery life. 6. At 15% brightness on the Fenix 6, it's getting between 12 and 15. So there's a huge gap in battery, and it's not towards the Instinct 2, it's towards the Fenix 6. Now, if you turn up and you say, okay, well, what if I want to get the same 6 days as the maximum output with best screen visibility on the Instinct 2? Turn up this to what would be 50%, which is 3.5 times brighter. And obviously the visual clarity of the higher resolution. And then you're getting about 6 days on the Fenix 6. So with that out of the way, that's sort of the nuances. And the settings and the testing for that specifically is with pulse ox on at night on both watches. So just to be clear, wrist raise brings about backlight on both watches. You have backlight wrist raise available on workouts as well. But that's the difference in battery life. I had to break that down. Now, what are the feature differences? Because that's sort of a big one. That's a misconception about it. What are the big differences in features and offerings of these watches? So we're going to look at the watch hands-on, maybe dive into the app, but I'm not sure about that yet, and then we'll come back.
Okay, what are the features and benefit differences? So I realized I had this turned down to 20% when I did the previous video, so this is at 50%. Now we can talk real world. So they're both missing the stamina feature that came out on the Fenix 6 as well as the Epics. They have all the same features when it comes to body battery, the sleep tracking, the sleep score, all the features there, and all the same training load features, except for a couple of nuanced differences. One thing that is a primary difference when it comes to training and tracking health metrics would be the sensor differences. So you have the Elevate 4.0, which is higher level accuracy than the 3.0. So this only really applies to workouts because I have now tested these head-to-head extensively, both the Fenix 6 to the Epics, the Fenix 6 to the Instinct 2, and they are getting the same body battery results and the same sleep analysis results, as well as the same sleep scores within 1 or 2 of the other. So you are not losing any accuracy from the Elevate 3.0 with any of the health and wellness features. That's a big one. Then when you connect both of them to a chest strap, you're getting the same training features. So the same training assessment for the aerobic and anaerobic training effect, as well as the training load from that workout, as well as the recovery time. So there are no new software features in the Instinct 2 because this is 2 years old. They're using the same algorithms as long as you're using a chest strap to calculate the actual most accurate heart rate. So all that's the same. There's some additional sport profiles on the Fenix 6. One of the things that is a primary difference, on the Fenix 6 is, again, this doesn't apply if you're not really a runner, is the mapping. So you have full tilt mapping where you can like zoom in on different things, and you can pan zoom, you can go around you, it literally will take you to a course somewhere nearby and a trail somewhere nearby, and it'll lead you across that trail. So full tilt mapping, and then music storage, so you can download Spotify playlists. So that's not available on the Instinct 2, and it is only available on the Pro, but I'm just comparing the Pro to the Instinct 2 anyway. So those are big features. Then you also have running features on the Fenix 6. You have things within the run categories where you can do Pace Pro and Cardio Pro. I don't even have it loaded because I don't do intensive running. So Pace Pro and Climb Pro, read about those because you'll see there's a big difference. Maps within ski maps, you can all sorts of specifics there, and golfing will have very big specifics. The one thing I wanted to show you, so that's the laundry list of training features that you'll get when you get the Fenix 6 over the Instinct 2. So the other thing, this is not my training status because I was borrowing it from a friend, is you have the same sort of scrolling of screens, the load calculation, but then you go straight into the recovery time. You don't have load focus. This is your anaerobic, your highly aerobic, and your lowly aerobic to calculate what a balanced training regimen would look like for you. It's still the same recovery time. These are different workouts, or I used it for different workouts, so it's not exactly the same. So all the same things except for the sensor on the Instinct 2, and that doesn't apply as much, and then one minor health benefit feature, which is the health snapshot. There's also some lag time between using this watch and sometimes getting to some of the screens. This will calculate, your metrics for heart rate, resting heart rate, breathing rate, blood oxygen and heart rate variability. To date, I have not used it of any value. I've used it just to test it, but I have not found any value in that specifically. So that is the summary of features and benefits that are on the Fenix 6 and on the Instinct, or on the Fenix 6 and not on the Instinct, or on the Instinct and not on the Fenix 6. Let's talk.
Okay, so there are the features and differences. Obviously you have a brand new sensor, more durable, lighter on the Instinct 2, and you have the health snapshot, so that's kind of a neater feature, maybe less dependence on a chest strap versus, obviously the training features and the mapping and the music and some of the running enhancements, the running features, which we didn't even get into the details of how much more the mapping adds to the running and the trail running or the hiking experience, and even the analytics if you're out on a rigorous run between these two. So in this next section, we're going to just dive into the Garmin website to show you how to navigate the Garmin website, but also show you how to find all these specs we just talked about in quick summary form. So you can skip to the summary if you want. There's timestamps down below, or you can watch this sort of, 3-minute overview of how you navigate to be able to see the head-to-head comparisons between these two. So let's dive in.
All right, so I don't know if I'm going to show this or not, but this is just the basics for how you go on the Garmin website, products, all wearables. Fine, but you're just looking for this top left compare, and then you go in and you're looking, and you hit a plus button there, and then we go down, and hopefully they have not removed the Fenix 6 from the lineup, and we're looking at the bottom because it's rolled to the back of the list. Let's say the Fenix Pro Solar Edition, either way. So we go into, all right, so you have these features. We'll make it ultra big. If any of these watches, if you ever want to control or figure out what you're looking at, you scroll down and you scroll up for 1 second and it'll show you the watches again at the top. Sometimes you can lose track of which one. So the Instinct 2 Solar is on the left, the Fenix 6 Pro Solar is on the right. You could just look at this as the Fenix 6, which is oftentimes today a much cheaper watch. And so the primary thing, you just look at this blue button on the left, you say show only differences. So we're going to see a few basic differences: the case size, physical size, display resolution, display size. So it's 0.9 by 0.9 versus 1.3 diameter. You have a lot more concentration in pixels. You've got, color. You've got a lighter watch on the Instinct 2, a heavier watch on the Fenix 6. We're going to sort of dismiss some of the smartwatch or the battery life features because of the brightness thing we'll talk about. So then you go into the features in primary list that are different. So health monitoring features, the only one is this health snapshot. So at the very bottom of the list, you can just sort of ignore kind of the rest because it's somewhat irrelevant. They're basically all saying yes. Sensor-wise, you're getting a gyroscope on the Fenix 6. I don't know what that does. Another daily smart feature, music. So you can see plays and controls watch music, and it has music storage as well as Wi-Fi connectivity on the Fenix 6. You have group live tracking and live event sharing where somebody could, where they can see where you stand on a race if you pre-programmed your race and communicated with other people. Gym and fitness equipment. You're going to have a few extra sport profiles, but you're also going to get the yoga profiles, Pilates workouts, and on-screen animations if you actually want the watch to tell you what Pilates movement to do next or yoga movement to do next, yada, yada, yada. Cycling features. So stress test is just, I think it requires a compatible chest strap. So we're not going to look at that. It says VO2 max trail run is only available on the Instinct 2, but I think that's a mistype because the VO2 max for trail run was introduced on the Fenix 6 quite a while ago. But what do we see around the rest? I don't even know if this is cycling features. These are training features. Training, load, focus. That is where you see if you're highly aerobic, quantity of minutes built up, lowly aerobic, and anaerobic, and you can compare for your overall a little bit broader training plan. Running profiles, you have a lot more detailed running profiles, or a few more detailed running. Specifically, you have virtual running and ultra running, which is maybe important, but the Pace Pro strategies is built into the Fenix 6. So you can have sort of I don't know exactly how it works, I don't run, but it's sort of keeping a pace, and it shows you if you're on pace, off pace, and what your pace should be depending on the altitude and change in the map that you've preloaded. All the golf features are tied into the Fenix 6. You can see all sorts of stuff. You can download the golf map, you can see custom targets, and it'll tell you a bunch of different fancy things. Outdoor recreation, you get a few more outdoor recreation profiles, but you get Climb Pro. So obviously it has maps. One thing that's not listed here just in big bold letters is maps. There's mapping on the Fenix 6. So but it ties into Climb Pro where you can see, like if you preloaded your course, you can see how much ascent you have left and what descent you have left. And a lot of other fancy preloaded ski resorts. That's really pretty crazy cool. If you actually ski periodically, it'll load it. It'll tell you all sorts of things about the skiing that you've accomplished. Cycling features. This is big. If you're a cyclist, you go down to the bottom. But advanced cycling dynamics is an important aspect or a useful aspect. And then swimming profiles. Not a whole lot to report here. It just sort of has pacing and critical swim speed versus the others that are missing. So that is the summary of the breakdown of the list, plus also how you access different feature differences within Garmin watches so that you can really dive in to what the differences are.
So what do I think in all summary and all honesty about these two? The Instinct 2, hot off the press, the latest, greatest sensor, and a full tilt upgrade from the Instinct 1. I love this device when compared to the Instinct 1. I love this device as just like an all-around beater, watch for CrossFit because it is brutally rigged. You can hit it against everything you want, and it is at the cheapest end of the price spectrum to get as many of the full spectrum benefits as you could want. So compared to the Instinct 1, way better, and just as an overall, just all-around simple, little bit lower cost, budget-friendly watch that has all the features, this is awesome. But all day long, over and over again, And even with the price difference, I would prefer the Fenix 6 paired with a chest strap. Now, both, if you're doing CrossFit or any truly intense workouts, you should pair both with the chest strap because the sensor is still not as accurate as it needs to be in some ways to provide value on some of those training analytics. All day long, the Fenix 6. The overall data life experience is so much better. It's so much more visually legible, more enjoyable, more, enhance. You can make more tweaks, make more changes. You can add more third parties, and I didn't even talk about that. Third-party additions for watch faces and apps or widgets, and all that is customizable on the Fenix 6 and not as much on the Instinct 2. So the screen, the look and the appearance, I do think this is a better looking watch, especially for a little bit more professional setting. Maps, music, I have used this to actually link music, try to go on a run without having my watch. And there have been times when I've been kayaking and I've used the maps, although none of those things matter to me. The absence of stamina from both of these doesn't matter to me. Pace Pro that's on here and not on here. Climb Pro, it's on here and not on here. Not important. Really it comes down to the screen, the functionality, the visibility, some of the enhancements with the training load, the overall look and appearance and just feel of the metal thing. And that sort of summarizes it for me because it's all the same metrics in so many ways, and you really should be wearing a chest strap. So if you're wearing a chest strap, then all of it is going to be the same apples to apples, just a little bit better. So that is my summary for the Fenix 6 versus the Instinct 2 in today's recent release. It's the Fit Gear Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.